The invitation in the dark. Some places don't feel empty when they're abandoned. They feel observant. Tonight, I want to take you somewhere most people never go after dark. A place where the military once raised families, where children rode bikes down clean streets, where nature has quietly moved back in. If you're the kind of person who finds comfort in mystery, in quiet footsteps, in distant wind, you may want to stay with me. And if stories like this calm you before you sleep, you already know where the button is. I'm a wildlife biologist by training. And of course, before that, I still stand by as a military officer. I've spent years on secure installations, training grounds, and restricted areas most civilians never see. And there is one base that never lets you leave. Aberdeen Proving Grounds. Aberdeen Proving Ground sits along the water in Maryland. It was established in 1917, over a century of weapons testing, research and classified projects, and routine quiets. During the day, it feels ordinary enough. At night, though, it's different. There are stretches of land no longer in use, old test sites, forgotten roads, and entire neighborhoods that were evacuated and left behind. Houses without doors, windows broken open into the weather, trees growing straight through living rooms, and deer, not skittish forest deer, but calm ones, standing inside of kitchens, standing in hallways, watching, always watching. Wildlife knows first. In wildlife biology, we learn something early. Animals respond to things long before humans ever admit they exist. We see this when birds migrate. We know when the weather is changing, when wildlife reacts. I've tracked wolves that refuse to cross invisible boundaries. Bats that avoid certain caves despite perfect conditions. Deer that gather where humans feel uneasy. And they vanish where we should feel safe. At Aberdeen's abandoned housing, the deer don't avoid the homes. They inhabit them. They move through the rooms as if they remember what the rooms were for. And sometimes they stop and stare at nothing. What unsettles people most isn't the decay. It's that some of the houses still have power. A single light glowing at the end of the street. A faint electrical hum in a place stripped of doors and fixtures. A porch lamp flickering on its own. Officially, it's leftover infrastructure. Unofficially, people don't linger long enough to confirm. As a military officer, I've been on this base. I've walked near these areas and through these neighborhoods, and I tell you this honestly. The silence there is not empty. It's heavy, and it presses back. The Malcolm Mitchell House. There is one structure on Aberdeen that appears more conversations than ever. The Malcolm Mitchell House. It's an old historical home on the base, weathered, unsafe, off limits except for the rare official tours and inspections. People who enter describe the same sensations: sudden dread, disorientation, a feeling of being watched, difficulty sleeping afterwards. Nothing dramatic happens, no voices, no apparitions, just a sense that something has reached into you and stayed there. The lieutenant colonel. In 2016, a retired U.S. Army lieutenant colonel, Nazir Sadiq, was working on Aberdeen Proving Grounds. Now, by all outward measures, he was accomplished, educated, respected, well decorated. But those close to him noticed that something had changed. In a text message to his daughter, he described intense stress. He named 2 sources: his job at Aberdeen and of course, a recent tour of an old, unsafe, historical house that was on the base. He said the house was haunted and that the visit had left him deeply, deeply disturbed. His brother later said the same thing, that after the visit to the home, he was never the same. What people believe and what happened next is real and tragic. Later that year, Sadiq killed his wife, Zarqa, his son, Fahid, before taking his own life. News reports claim the house couldn't have caused this, but among those who knew him, that knew Sadiq, among the people familiar with Aberdeen, a belief has formed quietly that whatever he encountered there, it never left him. Something followed him. Something came home with him that night. Walking there at night. Almost 6 months later, I walked near those abandoned streets at night. I didn't enter any structure. I didn't need to. The deer stood motionless in a doorway. The wind moved through empty rooms. And for a moment, just a moment, it felt like the base itself was listening. I have faced dangerous animals in the wild. I trust nature, but this wasn't nature. This was a memory. Why no one goes there? Places like this aren't haunted because of ghosts. They're haunted because of accumulated human experience. Stress, secrecy, fear, responsibility, and tragedy. And when a place absorbs enough energy, it has enough. Some people feel it more than others. Some are more susceptible. And those people are often the ones who care the most. Closing for sleep. If you're listening to this and you drift towards sleep, let the story say here, you are safe. The house is far away and the morning always comes. If you want more stories like this, quiet, unsettling, and 100% real, you know where to find me. Good night and stay wild.